Next up to the stage, we have one of our instructors from class. She has a published book out on Amazon in print and audio. It is a comedic memoir about her time in the Coast Guard called Fairly Smooth Operator. So put that in your cart. Put that in your cart. Okay, please welcome to the stage Caroline Walsh.
Move. Get out the way of me and my crew.
All right, it's great to be here. An awesome class. This is such a good class. So fun. I'm curious though, how many of you have seen the show Love on the Spectrum? Anybody? Okay, it's kind of popular. So if you haven't seen it, it is a show about people with autism who are dating, and it's interesting because typically people on the spectrum have a little bit of a hard time with social cues. So I thought I was a little bit on the spectrum, and I was like, let me watch this show to learn how to date better. So I started watching the show, and I was like, wow, I am definitely on the spectrum. But it wasn't because of the people on the show. It was because I learned that watching a show to learn how to date better is a very autistic thing to do. It's hard to be in a relationship when you're logically minded. I was dating somebody, and he said a joke, and it just wasn't funny. So I gave him like the nice eye roll, touch on the arm, like I still respect you. And he was very upset. He was like, I'm just trying to make you laugh. And so, like, my mind was calculating, analyzing, and I come up with, like, the most rational piece of analysis to share. And I was just like, well, I don't think you're the funny one in the relationship. So that didn't last. To be fair, I thought Marines had thicker skin. Oh, coasty. But I grew up middle class. My dad was a math professor. And then in my 20s, I just started dating a lot of drug dealers. And looking back, I realized it wasn't because I liked the bad boys. It was because I just really appreciated men who could do math in their head. Just could relate. So I went recently from working at the Central Intelligence Agency as an analyst to moving to San Diego and working and studying at a university. It was a culture shock. So I went from working at the CIA with cold, analytic people, we're working hard to disrupt the lives of our adversaries, to working at a university where people checked in with me to make sure I wasn't triggered by how they were peeling their banana. A little bit woke. My best friend in my PhD program was a Chinese international student. That's right, CIA analyst, Chinese international student, BFFs. And it was because we were endlessly annoyed by the same people. I got a text message. Every time an administrative email came out, I got a text message, and I was like, yeah, girl. I was like, you know what? DEI messaging does bring people together. Different backgrounds. But I was in the Coast Guard for a few years, and, of all the branches deciding, why did I join the Coast Guard? At the time, I was 22, blonde, fit, and in most military services, that is guaranteed sexual harassment. So I was like, you know what, let's join the one with the ocean breeze. I got really tired in the environment of getting comments on my body, and then I moved to San Diego, and my neighbor, I was walking the dog, and he said something about my body, and I was like, dude, if I wanted that kind of attention, I would wear my yoga pants to my next VA appointment. Not looking for that kind of attention here. The only time I wore a tight outfit in the Coast Guard was because I was distributed extra small coveralls. So I'm in my extra small mechanical coveralls because, shocking, all the mediums disappeared upon my arrival. But, the joke was on them because as I was in these things where I couldn't breathe, I could not actually do any work. So, nice try. It is hard to keep up with technology. I'm just glad the iPhone came out with the iPhone mini. It's about this big, and now I just tell people I have a mini. I don't have an iPhone 4, which is what I actually have. I did manage to get a new car, and I got a RAV4. And so I got it a year ago. I've been driving around, meeting some fun friends. All these ladies, awesome people, they all drive RAV4s. And I'm like, you know what? I need to send Toyota a little email and be like, listen, you need to do some marketing because the RAV4 is now the straight woman Subaru. I'm telling you, you can follow one of those home. I give you permission. I have a podcast idea too. Some friends and I were like, let's do a podcast. We're going to call it Daddy Issues. And it's going to be like, we have such great dads that like nobody is measuring up right now. Aw, my dad's in the audience, guys. But how you're raised is really important. And like, if it's not good, then therapy is really important. So I was on a flight recently, and I was in the window seat. A 10-year-old boy was sitting in the middle seat, and then his mom was in the aisle seat. And like we all got our food, we're putting our trays up. So, I like wiped down my tray and put it up, and the mom was done with her food, so she wiped down her tray and put it up. And then I saw her reach over to wipe her son's tray, and I just wanted to smack her hand back and be like, "You are ruining his future partner's life." Please do not do everything for your sons. But a few years ago, I dated a Peruvian man who was not entirely helpless. And it was going great, and then he wanted us to move to Peru because of how divided the politics had become in the United States. And I'm just like, America, that's where we're at. Some guy from a corrupt narco country like Peru is like, I don't know if the States is where I want to raise a family. We got to do a little better, But to be fair, I could try living at the other end of the cocaine supply chain. That's a supply chain joke, not a cocaine joke. So just so you know, I do have a 5-pound Chihuahua. And he cost me from the breeder $1,500. And when I got him, he was 2 pounds, so that is $750 a pound. So I basically have the truffle of the dogs at $750 a pound. Did I want to pay that much? No. Does a Chihuahua give me the validation and cleanliness that I really like? Yes. And now that I'm a dog owner, I have just dog treats in my pocket. I'm constantly just radiating beef jerky. But being in California, I know that when there's an earthquake, I'm going to be the first one rescued by the rescue dogs in the rubble. So, I'm just saying. But get up for your host and the rest of the comics coming up tonight. Thank you, guys.